What's up? What's up? What's up, guys? You just tuned in to UFC Smash Talk, powered up by MMABUG, and brought to you by MMA Smash Podcast. Let's see if I can sip this without spilling it. I'm gonna check the comments. I don't know if someone left the comment yet. I don't know who's on, but I see some eyes. We have a comment. 7-time Pro World Champion Bobby Campbell. What do you got? Are you going to tell me in time what's your favorite action figures tomorrow? Yes, I definitely will. But shit, that is a long list. What he's referring to is Bobby Campbell got a podcast show coming out tomorrow. Well, I don't know if I call it a podcast show. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he's doing like a live stream show on his YouTube page, which is brand new. So more details for that because I can't think of the name exactly. But he'll be looking at 80s toys with his son and Uncle Tom. That's his brother. And it's going to be awesome. But we're here to talk about UFC. Thank you, Bobby, for chiming in. And I'm going to check out your show tomorrow. Absolutely. And all right, so UFC Smash Talk is pretty much a show where I want to interact with you guys. So every Tuesday I'll come with some questions to ask you guys directly. And if not, I'll answer the questions myself. But this is not a podcast. It's more like a mini-cast, blogcast. Gonna recap, do a little bit of screen sharing. We're gonna recap the 3 UFCs that just passed. UFC 249, UFC Jacksonville, Florida, which was Smith versus Teixeira, and then we had UFC. They were just calling it Florida. UFC FL was the hashtag, and that was Harris versus Overeem. So let's do a little bit of screen sharing. What's up? What's up to everybody checking out the stream? Anybody watching the replay? Thank you for stopping by. It's going to grow. We're going to keep working on it. Now let's get into some stuff. Yo, so the first thing I want to say, UFC 249. Oh, my God. Was it a breath of fresh air to see these 3 gentlemen? I don't know how you guys felt, but I was relieved to see these 3 guys. I am an avid fight fan. I couldn't wait for it to begin. We have one of the most stacked cards that ever been. And it delivered. It delivered. You see Joe Rogan's face right here? This is the face I had for all 3 events through those 8 days. In my opinion, each event was better than the last. And it culminated with the Harris and Overeem event, which was one of the best UFC events I've ever seen, ever. I mean, each fight was pretty much better than the last. Let's check the comments one time. I see another one coming in. Interesting. All right, so Bobby says, so USA Boxing posted at only 26 states are allowed to have boxing gyms open, and 0 states are allowed to spar. How does UFC have 3 cards already? That is a very, very good question. They seem to be allowing the pro scene to do their thing. Obviously, UFC's been in the works. I also heard court win of Canelo coming back and boxing, doing the whole indoors, no crowd thing. But, you know, we'll be talking more about that. There's actually a podcast coming up later in the week. It's a surprise. I can't give the details on it yet. Where we're gonna dive heavily into, you know, what's going on exactly and what it means for the pro and amateur scene, because they seem to be neglecting the amateur scene and focusing on the pro scene. But you can't have the pro scene without the amateur scene. So again, more details to that. Thank you, Bobby, for pointing that out. That was something I didn't know, but I would definitely want to get more in depth into that with you at a later time, and we'll give you guys that. Did you at least enjoy the UFC? That's probably a stupid question, right? I shouldn't even ask you that. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it is what it is. It's a tough time, you know, because as fight fans, we're excited that the UFC's out. But in the reality, you know, the UFC's getting to operate, and the UFC's a promotion. All these other promotions, they're not being allowed to operate. So it's pretty much like you know, a not fair situation. But all right, let's get into UFC 249. I'm really going to focus on the co-mains and the main events. I don't want to recap too much because we went over it in the podcast, which, by the way, shout out MMA Smash Podcast, hosted by Will Colazzo, myself, the Sleeping Giant, and UFC veteran Chris Cope. That's on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern on the MMA Smash Podcast page. What you're watching now is UFC Smash Talk with me, the Sleeping Giant, and that's brought to you on the MMABUG page. All right, so the people who are watching UFC 249, I hate to say it, but Francis Ngannou just absolutely steamrolled Rozenstruik. I mean, Rozenstruik, you know, Did he have any business calling out Francis Ngannou? How you call a guy out, the guy that everyone's afraid to fight, and you lose so dramatically? The first exchange, the first trade. I mean, it was over before we even realized it started. Incredible knockout. Make sure you guys check out those highlights. I can't play the highlights because Dana White will sue the shit out of me. So you guys get pictures for now. But we're working on how we could produce clips at a later time. There's some loopholes we could work around. All right, so what we had in the co-main event was Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz. A lot of controversy there. I don't know how you guys feel. If you feel it was a back and forth fight, I don't. I think Henry was controlling the whole fight from beginning to end. I think the stop was a pretty good stop, even though Dominic disagrees. I mean, he was getting up against the fence, but he was also pretty knocked the fuck out on the ground when the referee, Keith Peterson, decided to stop the fight. He even had his arms not hinged. You know, he looked like a rag doll. It was floppy, fish out of water. So it's a good stop. You know, but he was upset because he woke up and he was getting up, and that's the exact moment it was stopped. But with that said, Henry Cejudo seals the deal, defends the title once again. And, you know, it's a hard battle of who's the GOAT, but he's definitely one of the guys you got to throw up there in the GOAT mention. Absolutely. But it was an incredible knockout victory, and I got some pictures of that. I don't got video, but this fucking knee was too sweet not to look at again. We're going to get to that. Here it comes. It's one of these pictures. Damn. Look at that. Look at that. I don't know what knee was prettier, this knee or the George Masvidal knee. Probably George Masvidal knee because it was the beginning of the fight. Literally, a bell just rung. But the timing, the awareness, the creativity, the fluidity, and just the overall fucking awesomeness and badassness that is needed to perform such a stunt. And then against a man who's known for his movement, who's known for being evasive, who also, by the way, Dominic Cruz has one of the highest statistics for being hit the least in the UFC. He probably arguably, I think, he's the Floyd Mayweather of not getting hit in MMA. And as you see here, it didn't help. Henry Cejudo retires afterwards. He gives us a farewell. Triple C, Cringe King, I'll miss you. We'll miss you. More on that later, though. More on that later. So Henry Cejudo defeats Dominic Cruz at UFC 249 to retain his title. But if he's retiring, that means there's a vacant title. So we'll get to that. Give some time for more guys to come in. So I want to know what you guys think should be fighting for that vacant title. I want to know what you guys think who should be fighting in general in UFC Island coming up. So the main event, we had Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. This fight was crazy because obviously the boogeyman El Cuque is right here. Look at this guy. He looks like a demon that crawls out from under your bed, or he's hiding in your closet. The Nightmare himself faces Justin Gaethje, a last-minute late replacement. You see, I'm speechless. And Justin Gaethje just walks down Tony Ferguson for 5 rounds, pretty much annihilating him until the point where the ref has to stop it. So, you know, Tony starts off strong the first 2 rounds. They're going at it back and forth. Even in those first 2 rounds where you can say Tony was doing well, Gaethje was controlling the distance. He wasn't just peppering him or tagging him. He was landing home run knockout punches on Tony nonstop for 2 rounds, and Tony didn't get knocked out. Tony's a fucking zombie. So credit to Tony, because I don't know how you receive all those knockout blows and don't get knocked out. But 3rd round, things change. His zombiness wasn't working for him in the 3rd round. He got really hurt. In the 4th round, he got even more hurt. The round 5 came and we just had enough, man. And we love Tony. We love Tony to death. Heart goes out to you, Tony. It was a tough fight. You're still the man. You're still one of the best. And shouts out to Justin Gaethje. You got to give it to him. Justin Gaethje, we always knew he was one of the best, but he showed he isn't just one of the best. He might just be the best. We're going to find out when he fights Khabib. But Justin Gaethje really rose to the occasion. And I knew he would. I had originally went for Tony. My co-host, Will Clazo, went for Justin Gaethje. But I said from the beginning, Justin Gaethje was going to show us something we've never seen before. He was going to take it into deep waters. People thought he would lose easily. I was like, no way. There's no way. You know, I'm picking Tony, but there's no way Justin is not making Tony bring his A game. There's no way Justin is not going to make it to deep waters. And he didn't just make it to deep waters. He fucking took it to Tony and then took Tony to deep waters. It was incredible display, Justin Gaethje. Shouts out to you, man. You've officially killed the Tony Ferguson-Khabib fight we thought we was going to have. There may be hope for that fight, but for that to work, it has to be laid out a certain way. More on that in a minute. Just want to go over some of the fights real quick, noticeables. Then we're going to get into the questions. What's up, Will Colazzo? Get it, brother. Stuck working. My co-host couldn't make it on Smash Talk. You know, it's not the podcast. We don't have all the hosts, but the hosts that can make it would definitely hop on. So it won't always just be my pretty face on here. You'll get to see this pretty man as well, Will Colazzo. Shouts out to you, buddy. Good to see you. And thank you for working, man. Thank you for doing what it is that you do. You do a lot for the community, and you do a lot for the friends and family. And shouts out to you, man. All right, so Khabib, no comment. Then he tweets, it was so impressive. Congratulations. Very smart fight. Absolutely was a smart fight. Leg kicks was a huge difference. But I don't even wanted to say it was the leg kicks because Justin's boxing was just, it was untouchable. It was incredible. It was impeccable. Before we move on, couple notable things about Tony. I found this meme to be interesting. It says the last time Tony Ferguson lost a fight, women didn't even fight in the UFC. You know how long ago that was? I can't even remember the era where women weren't a prominent figure in MMA. That's how long ago it was. That's how many epic fights ago that was. Usman and Henry Cejudo had 0 pro fights. Wow. Henry Cejudo had 0 pro, double champ, triple C, triple champ, had no pro fights. Was the last time Tony Ferguson took an L. Anderson Silva and GSP were UFC champion. I feel like I'm a little kid again. They were the champions the last time Tony lost. Do y'all understand? So many people is like, Tony's over. Are you kidding me? Tony is not overrated. It happens. Renan Barao, he went undefeated for, like 12 years, and then he lost. And then he lost a lot. You know, it happens. But he wasn't overrated. Jose Aldo went, 9-10 years before taking his first L. You got to give these guys the respect. They don't fight bums. They don't fight tomato cans. Tony was fighting the best there is. And you got to respect it, man. The UFC flyweight division was 2 months old, and Conor McGregor was on welfare. That is not a diss to Conor. It's the truth. Conor was on welfare. And now he's one of the richest people in the world. You're welcome, Will. You're welcome, bro. And I can't wait. We got some surprises. You know, I was talking on Crypto in the beginning of the show because, you know, I may or may not have a podcast coming out with Bobby soon. And me and Will may or may not have a super fucking awesome podcast coming starting tomorrow called Far Down the Rabbit Hole. That's going to be great. Me and Will were just kicking it one night after the podcast. And he's like, you know, this MMA Smash thing is a whole lot of fun. But we got to kick it up a notch. We got to get crazier. So Far Down the Rabbit Hole podcast is coming out soon. I believe the first recording's tomorrow. I don't know if it's live or not. Either way, you guys will get that. Will Colazzo will detail you guys more. He's the captain of that podcast. I'm being brought along for the ride, and we're gonna go down the rabbit hole. Pretty much, we're gonna be examining and investigating the unexplained. You know, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Make sure you guys check that out. More details on that. That'll be on the MMA Smash podcast page. Also gonna be launching a podcast soon with Bobby Campbell called Dad Fighters Podcast. The logo man is working on it as we speak. The logo is coming out fire. He's just putting some last minute touches on the colors and whatnot. That'll be out soon. So, you know, we'll get more on the shows in a little bit. I want to get back to what I was doing here. But we got a new comment. Let's see what we got here. Andrew Albert. What's up, buddy? He's a fighter. Fucking great fighter. Just dropping by, but this shit cool as fuck. Keep it up. Hope we meet up at Jackhammer Promotions next event when they open up again. I sure do. I've seen this guy fight. What I liked about Andrew, man, Andrew had this vibe about him that was just like, it was so fucking, it reminded me of like Yoda Machida, Anderson Silva, GSP, like that real martial arts vibe. With a mixture of everything, old and new, you know, he was fresh on the scene. He's an amateur fighter, but that kid was tough as nails, man. Tough as nails. Fought a dude, I believe, who was bigger than him, even more experienced, and he brought the fight to him. Shouts out to you, Andrew. Thank you for commenting and checking out the show. Hope to see you again, brother. All right, so let's get back to this. All right, so what we got going on here? Whoops. All right, we still there. We still in there. All right, so that was that. So now we're moving on to the next event. The Nico Price fight was, I feel like a sleeper, man. That, you know, that fight, incredible. Look at his cut. Your heart this warrior has and shown. Look at his cut. Still kept fighting. He took an L, but I mean, he deserves a bonus for that. Got to be one of the fight of the nights. This was an incredible knockout from a long under, Brian Keller. Boom. It was a boom. First round, the other guy, if I remember correctly, was kind of dictating the pace. Boom was settling in, though. He wasn't losing or being controlled. He was just settling in, filling them out. And then you just seen Boom just getting more comfortable. Started pulling the trigger more. Started landing, established his range, and then that check left hook came. And it was a wrap. I mean, that was one of the most craziest punches I've ever seen. The explosiveness in that punch in that tiny amount of distance, time, the speed, man, that was something else. So shout out to Boom. He's a Long Island resident. I met him before. Cool, crazy guy. Don't know him well, but he's cool. You know what I'm saying? We met before. This fight, this fight could have been better, but to be honest with you, I'm not a Carla Esparza fan. Not a big fan of us. Waterson stood in front of her, try to bring it to her. She was backing her down, and then she kind of got back down. It's tough to say. People have different opinions. Guess it could have gone either way. The judges gave it to Cookie Monster. I feel how Waterson feels. I think Waterson took that fight, as you can see in this photo here. She's shocked. She's pretty shocked. All right, let's get into the first emotional, heartbreaking matchup of the UFC events that took place. Teixeira versus Anthony Smith. Very controversial topic. I understand Smith for being so offended. Fighters are protective of their coaches. Fighters are protective and loyal to their teams and their clubs. And we all called into question his coaches. In our defense, we saw a situation where we believe, and many people believe, it's pretty much unanimous. I mean, from the fight fans on the couches to the analysts and the experts and his peers. The fight should have been stopped. It should have been stopped. I mean, for 3 whole rounds, it should have been stopped. For 3 rounds, there was unnecessary damage. The coach isn't the only person you could put that on. The ref could have stopped it too. Smith doesn't feel we have the right to be opinionated. He has the right to feel that way. I ain't mad. I still feel like his coach is just throwing a towel. If I was his coach, I've cornered people before. I trained people before. And, I always think, how would I react if my fighter was in there like that? And I absolutely would pull my fighter out. He may be mad at me later, but it's the right thing to do. But also, too, people make mistakes, and they learn from them. His coach seemed really heartfelt. Sorry about it. His coach put out a public apology. So even though Smith doubled down and said, hey, I'm with my team. They know what's best for me. Y'all need to shut the fuck up. That's almost literally how he said it. He told us to mind our business. He's going to do him. So I respect it, and I'm still a fan, still like Smith. And I respect his coach now for admitting that, he could have made better decisions. He could have done things differently. And hopefully that won't occur. And hopefully there wasn't any serious permanent damage to Smith that will hurt his career because, Smith is one of those guys where, he's still got a lot more to go, a lot more to prove. He's a prominent name, of course, but he has more. He has more of his career to give. So I hope he has stuff left after that because those are the type of beatdowns that, guys don't come back the same. First round or 2, I forget which round it was, Smith hurts Teixeira. You think it's almost over. He can't finish it. Teixeira comes back. I think it started with this uppercut. Look at this. Look at this placement of the uppercut. Right on the temple. Started it off. Got him up against the fence. Bing, bing, boom. Pow. All the sound effects from the original Batman series took place right here. Pings, pals, zooms, all that shit. And he just put Smith away. Finally. Then we had this beautiful front T kick. If Bobby, if you're still listening, is that a front kick or is that a T? Little inside joke. He knows what it is. There's always been a debate in Muay Thai. Use the term T. Kickboxers sometimes like to tease and say a teep is a front kick, and Muay Thai fighters, I would say no, it's not. They're two different kicks with different purposes and different details. All right, let's move it on. We're gonna pump through it so we can get to the questions. This ladies' fight was unexpected, honestly, for me. I'm a fan of Claudia. I'm a fan of Angela. Not huge fans though. Sometimes, in my opinion, fights could be a pinch. You know, I would prefer more excitement, but I can't even say that they're lackadaisy fighters because they're not. They're aggressive fighters. They're high volume fighters. They do their thing. But this fight was fucking incredible. These two, I mean, they went at it, balls to the wall, hurting each other, dropping each other. I mean, they went to war. And one thing I got to say about Claudia, she really put on a new level of striking. She showed she's not just a dominant grappler. She's an incredible striker as well. And this fight was incredible. Some people feel it should have went to Angela. Angela feels that way. She tweeted about it, but it went to Claudia. It was a good fight. It was a close fight. I don't know how I feel about that one. Because in many ways, I definitely feel Claudia should have got it. But you cannot, it's hard to say because Angela from the middle on almost kind of stole back the fight. So Claudia had these moments while Angela stole back the fight where she did something good, something dope, but she hurt it back. So it might have put her back in that comfortable spot again or not. So, I don't hold any fault to the judges. It could have gone either way, even though Angela feels she was robbed. Harris and Overeem. You guys already know the story about Harris. I don't even like talking about it. It's such a tragic story. Just not in the mood to get in that mood. But as you guys know, his daughter was killed. And it wasn't even that long ago. And the man needed it. He did it in her name, in her honor. And he decided to step in the cage while he was still grieving, while he's still recovering. And he lost the fight. First round, he hurts Overeem. He's doing good, man. Looked like he was going to put Overeem away. He came in the first round hard, like you said. Overeem survived, weathered the storm. I think it all started with this head kick. Hurt him, stunned him a little bit. Then he swarmed all over him. Bing, bang, boom, pow. Batman sound effects. And here we are. Overeem gets a huge, huge win for Overeem. You guys think Overeem is going to get a title? You guys think that? I don't know. I don't know if he's ever going to get a UFC title. I mean, I know he got titles. That came out wrong. He got tons of titles. But a UFC title, we're going to find out. All right. So this is a proposed matchup from Ariel Elwani. If Nurmagomedov is able to fight in July, as he said he could last week on social media, then I say make Khabib versus Gaethje for the undisputed title and headline the July card with McGregor versus Nate Diaz 3. If McGregor wins that fight, give him the winner of the lightweight title fight later this year. Comment in when you guys get a chance on the replay and let me know what you guys think about that. I'll tell you what I think about that in a minute. All right, so now, I just wanted to recap some of those cool moments. Wanted to talk some moments with you guys. We don't really have any live viewers, but that's okay. This is it's part of the game, man. It's a risk you take, when you do these live shows. And I'm going to keep it up there because it's going to grow. Some days we get people, some days we don't. It's literally the second Smash Talk. So bear with me, guys. Keep checking out Smash Talk when you can. And definitely check out the podcast. Smash Talk is for talking to people. So I don't know how much you guys will enjoy the replay. But make sure you guys check out the podcast. The podcast, I'm there rocking with other hosts, with screen sharing. We're looking at stuff on the internet. It gets crazy. All the podcasts are awesome. So quick mention. We had 2 new inductees into the Hall of Fame, rightfully so. GSP, George St. Pierre. It's funny about George St. Pierre because I legit thought he was already in the Hall of Fame for good reason, but apparently he wasn't officially, but we all knew he was going to be there. GSP is arguably the GOAT. And Kevin Randleman, again, I thought he was already in the Hall of Fame. Legend, absolute legend. It's nothing bad you say about this guy, man. And it's tragic how we lost him. He died from a MRSA staph infection. He caught it somewhere around here and literally just ate through his flesh. He fought it for weeks at a time in the hospital, and he couldn't defeat. And he succumbed to staph MRSA. It's a real danger us MMA guys, grapplers, kickboxers, boxers, whatever, have to face when we train. All right, so this is how I was feeling today. Shout out to MMA Storytime. They're a new entertainment site and a podcast. I know the guy who does it. Cool dude. And once in a while, I steal his memes. So I got to shout him out because that's those me. I don't know if he's going to see this. Shout out to y'all, buddy. Anyway, 3 UFC events, no UFC events. Those are my faces. But the good news is, guys, I got some announcements for you today. So apparently, the next 2 cards, they're still being made up. Let me see. Did I write them in here? No. All right, we're going to take the screen share off for a moment. So May 30th is the next UFC card. June 6th is the next UFC card after that. June 6th is the pay-per-view featuring Amanda Nunes versus Felicia Spencer for the belt. I don't know if that's going to be a main event. I have a funny feeling it's going to be a co-main, and they're still working on a main, but that could be the main. A fight's official for that card, but that card is still being made. And May 30th's main event is Tyrone Woodley versus Gilbert Burns. The rest of that card is also still being made. So with that said, let's just bust out these questions real quick. And nobody's on today. That's okay. I'm going to still post. I'm going to still do this every Tuesday, and hopefully it'll grow, all right? And if you're watching replay, hope you enjoy the replay. Again, make sure you check out the official podcast. This is just a little spinoff, so I could get talking to the peoples. I just realized. Okay, I didn't realize that before. I got 2 separate comment channels. So sorry for the people I'm neglecting on YouTube. I just noticed that. I'll keep it on there next time. But it looks like I have to swap in between. Anyway, so here we go. We're going to burn through these questions real quick. I'm going to shoot out my answers because I want to keep up with the questions. I want that to be a theme. You know what I'm saying? You guys could bring up whatever the hell you want to talk about. But if and when you don't got stuff you can think of, I'll hit you with some stuff, right? So what is next for UFC Island? Tons of stuff is next for UFC Island. I imagine big fights. I imagine weekly fights. The UFC has a contract with ESPN, that they already got paid for. So regardless of how much money they make, they got shows to do. I think they have a contract with ESPN for like 42 shows. I think they've had 10 or 11. So lots of shows to come, lots of big stacked fights. And I expect, I want to say I expect the cards to be huge as they can get it, because they want to make up for lost time and lost revenue without having a crowd. But on the flip side, that's not to say everybody's ready, and that's not to say everyone is enjoying fighting with these short to no to shitty fight camps. In fact, many of the fighters mentioned in the 2 fight night cards in Florida how they all had like a week, if that, to prepare. Some lucky we're getting 2 weeks. So a lot of them enjoyed that, so it's interesting to see how that's going to play out. A lot of the fights were spectacular. They stand-up wars. I think guys were healed from the time off, so they were able to come before this ferociousness, and people were so eager to fight. So I think UFC Island is going to be lit. It's going to be lit. All right? I just like how that word sounds, lit. Question number 2. What are the fights to make that you want to see coming up in the next few weeks on Fight Island? All right. Let me check comments real quick. Fortunately, to run these questions, I also have to flip back and forth. All right. Nobody's on at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to tell y'all what fights I want to see. And on the replay, if you happen to watch this, let me know if you agree or not. And I could also go back and watch this replay to find out if my predictions were correct. These aren't necessarily the fights I think they're going to make. These are the fights I think they should make, the fights I want to see. John Jones at heavyweight versus Francis Ngannou. Stipe versus DC3. Tony Ferguson versus Conor McGregor. I think that is a fight you absolutely have to have. For reasons I've explained on my previous podcast 20 times. so I'm not going to again. Street Jesus, George Masvidal versus Colby Covington. When the fuck is that gonna happen? Listen, I know George and Usman's a good fight. George and Connor's a good fight, and George and anybody's a good fight. But I want to see George Masvidal versus Colby Covington. That is the fight to make. That could be a main event without no title. You got two guys who stand out on the far spectrums of extremes. They both gangsters in their own way. They both thugged out. And they both fight like gladiators, man. They got to fight each other. And they got beef. They got real, genuine beef. They used to train together. They don't like each other. They were always bickering. George has confronted him multiple times before in person, wanting to fight him. Didn't happen. Now Colby's like, yo, I'm down. I don't give a fuck. Colby Covington's been calling him out. He's interested in the fight, but he's trying to make his money fights right now. He's trying to get a money fight, so he's negotiating things. I don't know. If you're listening, George, yo, man, if you're listening, George, fight Colby. Deadass, fight Colby. Nate Diaz versus Dustin Poirier. It's a sleeper. Nobody saw that one coming. But Diaz a little bit on the low, a little back and forth. I want to see that. I want to see DP come back. So why not against Nate Diaz? Reyes versus Texera for the vacant belt. I mentioned John Jones versus Francis Ngannou, and John Jones already confirmed he wants out. He's going to heavyweight. He's vacating his title. We got a lot of vacates, a lot of interesting things that can happen. Speaking of vacates, before I forget, Henry vacated his title, but Henry has literally tweeted recently, so it's kind of a big announcement. But Henry said he messaged Dana and he's throwing shit out there, but he would come back for and was willing to give him a shot at the 145 title against the new champ, which I can't say his name, the Australian fighter who just recently beat Max Holloway for the belt. It's a brand new champion. He hasn't defended his title. It's an interesting fight for him. I don't know if he wants to take the fight, but if he takes the fight, he's fighting a guy 2 weight classes down, you could say. Well, maybe one, because he's also a 135 champ. But does he take that fight? If he loses that fight, does it look bad? If he wins that fight, will they say he fought someone smaller? I don't know. He seems to be a prideful guy who wants a hard challenge because he wants to be taken serious as a champion. People were so in love with Max that, we almost forget that Max lost his belt and is a brand new champion at 145. Who's incredible. I mean, he really dominated and controlled and beat up Max, and that's not easy to do. Max is as tough as they come. It's as tough as nails. Walker versus Santos. How you guys feel about that? But, I figured we need to get Walker back in there. Santos is coming back from his injury. Walker keeps saying he wants bigger challenges, so why not give him Santos? Santos could use a fight. I don't want to call it a tune-up fight. But he could use a fight that that's not in the top 3 or the top 5, even though he just fought the champ. He was gone for so long with his leg like that. Anthony Smith versus Corey Anderson would be a good fight. Smith is going to want to fight. Corey's going to want to fight to prove themselves. They're both coming off of losses after coming off of big wins. So they're both at that cusp where they both want to prove that they belong in the top 5. They're in the top 10, but they want to prove they belong in the top 5. And they keep getting close and they keep getting knocked back. Let them fight each other. Why not? Big Ben Rothwell called out Olenek, and I say give him to him. He wants Olenek, give him Olenek. That's a great fight right there. Great fight. I would love to see Michelle Waterson versus Angela Hill. That would be another good one I would love to see. I would like to see Harris fight Greg Hardy. How you guys feel about that? That's a sleeper. I don't know what to think about that. And Cruz wants a fight. I don't know if it should be for the vacant title because then Cruz will be stepping people that might be, technically more deserving based on the ranking system. But Cruz and Faber, why not? Let's run it again. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Favors was he weighed in. Cruz wants to fight right away. They both ain't getting any younger. They want, you know what I'm saying? So why not? Why not a trilogy? So anyway, that concludes UFC Smash Talk. Thank you to people who hopped on real quick while they could. Tune in Tuesday, every Tuesday. I'm doing a Smash Talk, whether y'all show up or not. I'm doing this every Tuesday. Tomorrow morning is Sleeping Giant Blogcast. You can find that on this page on the YouTube, MMABUG YouTube, or the Newcomer Sleeping Giant page. But every Wednesday, I'm doing a blogcast to talk to you guys. Chat in the morning. That usually does well. More people show up to that, believe it or not. They're up in the morning. I guess they want to talk. They want to chat. So, we'll talk about something. We'll talk about whatever you guys bring up. But if not, I always come with something to discuss. One topic. It's a short show. It's usually like something deep. Tuesday nights is UFC Talk, where I just want to talk about MMA and UFC with friends and fans. Thursdays is the official MMA Smash podcast on MMA Smash Podcast Facebook page. Fridays is the After Hour Show on the After Hour Show with Joe and Steve page. That shit is crazy. If y'all hadn't seen that, you need to see it. I drink on that on Fridays. I co-host with my boy the big guy Steve Mandy and Always Ready Eddie, and it gets wacky. We watch tons of internet shit. It's crazy. We talk about all this inappropriate stuff, and it gets wild. It gets fun. Far Down the Rabbit Hole starts tomorrow. We explain the unexplained. Well, I'm sorry. We don't explain the unexplainable. We can't explain that shit. We're going to investigate the unexplainable, and it's just going to get crazy. So with that said, I don't want to keep this rolling any longer. Check out those podcasts that are available. There'll be more to come, like Dad Fighters podcast, That's Weird Science, Damn History's Messed Up. I got tons of crazy live stream shows, internet viewing shows, chat shows. Like it's gonna be crazy. So just stay tuned. We building slowly but surely. We taking over. And once again, this is Sleeping Giant. This was UFC Smash Talk, a live chat, blogcast, minicast. Don't know what you want to call it. But I also have podcasts. Make sure you guys check those out. Make sure you check out my YouTube page. Make sure you guys check out MMABUG, MMA Smash Podcast. And I'm signing out. It's the Sleeping Giant. I'm out.